All right. Oh, crap. Okay, awesome. Great. Now, let's get started. Hi, everyone. I am Team Ruler 15, and I'm Team Ruler 15, and today we are going to talk about phrasal verbs. And this is a class that's more for intermediate students. If you're advanced, I assume you already know this. So this is more for the intermediate students, but if you're advanced, you can still learn from the lesson. Okay, so, and I hear an echo. Someone needs to mute their mic. Okay. Um, so, phrasal verbs. Can anyone tell me what a phrasal verb is? I think someone's typing something right now. Just waiting for someone to answer the question. But if no one knows, I can just answer it. Okay, that's okay.
I know how.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Phrasal verbs are those kind of phrases that indicates the action that you or someone is doing, and it's most used in spoken English and uh, informal text.
Okay, so that's kind of it. But to be more precise, a phrasal verb is when, as someone said it in the chat, it's when you have a verb coupled with a preposition. So, like, let's take, or, oh yeah, it is possible that you might know what it is, but you can't explain it. But that's okay. I can explain it for you. So, for example, let's say we have the verb get, or actually, no, let's use the verb eat. So, and let's say, like, let's just have this verb here, eat. Well, to make it a phrasal verb, we just add something at the end, a preposition at the end. So now we have, oops, I keep forgetting slow mode's on. Okay, eat up. So now eat up is a phrasal verb because it uses a preposition coupled with the verb. So we changed the verb eat into a different verb, but without actually changing the verb itself. We just added another word to it. So that's what makes it a phrasal verb, because it essentially becomes a phrase instead of just a single word. So, and to make this a bit more understandable, there are analogs in other languages, like for example, Spanish. Let's say we have Spanish. So, for you Spanish speakers, you know that this means this, and but if you add a little word here, you get this. So, say, for example, in Spanish, comer means to eat. But if you add a little pronoun at the end of that verb, you get comerse, which means to eat up. So it's kind of like that in English, but instead of adding a pronoun to a verb like you do in Spanish, you add a preposition to a verb in English. And there's another analog, like take German, for example. So we have this verb, which means this, but we also have this verb, which means this. So we have the verb kaufen, which means to buy, but if you add ein at the front of the verb, you get einkaufen, which means to go shopping. So it's, again, a similar concept. So where you, instead of just changing the verb itself. You just add something to it and you change the meaning, but without actually making up a new word. Now, regarding prepositions, if you recall, a preposition is a word that shows the relationship to another word in the sentence. They often tell location, but they can also deal with time. So, like, for example, we have up, down, um, in, out, around, by, on, stuff like that. Those are prepositions. To eat up in this case means to eat something entirely or completely. So it's essentially for you linguists out there, it's essentially a telic action. It implies some sort of completion. So when you eat up something, you're eating something entirely. So that's what it means in that case.
Is it a synonym of devour?
Yeah, you could think of it that way. Okay. So, and to show you guys an example of prepositions in sentences, let's say we have they went up the river. In this case, up the river is our prepositional phrase. Actually, let me do this. So, hold on, I'm just typing something here. Oops. Let's see here. Yeah, not necessarily quickly. Like to eat up doesn't necessarily have to be a quick action. It can be, but not necessarily. But anyway, this example, they went up the river. So up in this case is our preposition. But if we have words that follow the preposition, then we have a prepositional phrase. I should change that. It really should be prepositional phrase. And there you have, a prepositional phrase. So up would be the preposition, up the river would be the prepositional phrase, which has more than one word. And in this case, up is showing us the relationship between the subject, they, and the river. They went up the river, meaning that they were moving along the river in a what I assume is like an upward direction, like say north or whatever. So that's how prepositions work. And let me provide another example. I'm not going to stay too long on this topic, but let's see. Let's see. Okay. So here we have this. The phone was on the table. So in this case, on is our preposition and on the table is our prepositional phrase. On is showing us the relationship between the phone and the table, meaning that the phone was physically on top of the table. So that's another example. So basically, prepositions show us the relationship between words in the sentence. So they often deal with location, but they can also deal with time or comparison. So they have many functions. And for those of you who don't use them very much in your language, you probably use cases, noun cases instead of prepositions, which is a similar concept, but instead of having separate words, you just add affixes to nouns. So prepositions, let me write this down. Prepositions are analogous to cases, noun cases, I should say. Because noun cases show us the function of words in a sentence. In a similar manner, prepositions tell us the relationship between words in a sentence. So if we have the nominative case, for example, that tells us who the subject is, but The dative case would tell us, what the indirect object is. So, or the transformative case, for example, would be essentially like into in English, like they turned into animals, meaning that they became animals. So in that case, into is kind of like stupid slow mode. Okay, into is kind of like the transformative case here. Basically, prepositions and cases they kind of do the same thing, but in different ways. Okay, so that's what prepositions are. And when you add a preposition to a verb, you get a phrasal verb. But before I continue, like going into more depth on phrasal verbs, does anyone have any questions so far?
No, it is.
Okay. So, oh, you have to leave? Okay. Well, nice. Well, it was nice of you to come. Thank you. Um. Oh crap. Sorry. Anyway, so as I said, phrasal verbs are prepositions. Well, no, sorry. Phrasal verbs use prepositions with verbs to change their meanings. So, and I have a list of phrasal verbs here. We're only going to cover like some of the most common ones because there are so many, and I can't possibly cover all of them or even all of the meanings of them. But I will try to cover them. Try to cover some of the most common ones. So let's start with the verb back. The verb back. Let's start with that verb. So the verb back. In some contexts, it means to support someone, support some argument or claim, right? So, for example, she backed her claim with solid evidence. So the verb back can sometimes have that meaning. But if you add the word up like this, it means something entirely. So you get something like to back up means to move backwards. So here up changes the meaning of the verb back. So back up is like to move backwards. Like, can you back up a few feet because your breath stinks? Well, you wouldn't actually say that to someone in real life because that's rude, but that's just a funny example I thought of. So, or in some cases, it can also mean to support something or someone in this case. Like, she backed me up because I was trying to tell people what happened and she provided evidence that I was telling the truth. So she backed me up. Or it can mean or it can mean something else. Like if you're in a fight and you want your friends to come and back you up, to support you. That's another definition for the word back up. For the verb back up. Or it could mean, or we could add something like this: back off. Back off. Like to back off means to. I should have typed this, but to back off means to stay away. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, stay away. Back off. Stay away. Like if someone is too close to you and you get mad, you'd probably tell them back off. Like go, just back off. Stay away. Get back. So in this case, back off means to stay away, or essentially to move backwards in a way. So you can see that we have three different verbs here: back, back off, and back up. Um, yeah, so that would be it for that verb. And we also have believe and believe in. So, the first one, believe means the first one, believe, means to trust someone. So when you say he believed me, he believed me when I told him what happened. So in this case, believe means to trust someone or to take their word for something. So he believed me, or it could be to believe, to trust something too. Yeah, that works too. Yeah, that's correct. So, but if you want to change it, he believed in me. Now this is different. This is different because now you're implying that he trusted you to do something, that he had confidence in you. He was confident that you could do something. So in this case, now we have believe in instead of believe. So do you see how the meaning changes when you add the word in? Okay, someone asked a question here. Back off and back away. Yeah, I'd say they are interchangeable. Yeah, back off and back away. Yeah, I'd say they're interchangeable. And as for memorizing these verbs, don't even bother. There are too many to memorize. What I would do is to just focus on exposing yourself to as much English as you can, and over time you'll just pick them up naturally. One like little by little you'll get them. It's not something that you should memorize. But if you must memorize the verbs, then just memorize a few of the most common ones. Like stop at 20 and don't go any more than that. So, just don't, but for the most part, don't even bother memorizing them. That's just not an effective way to learn. Okay, so, and another thing I should point out, you can't really avoid phrasal verbs in conversation. You can avoid them in formal writing, but not in, yeah, you can avoid them in informal, sorry, you can avoid them in formal writing, but you can't avoid them otherwise, because if you don't use them in informal settings, yeah, I mean, you can still you'll still be able to speak and people will still be able to understand you, but you won't really sound very natural. So phrasal verbs are important parts to sounding native because people use them all the time in casual conversations. So don't avoid phrasal verbs. You can't avoid them. They are an unavoidable part, an important part of the English language. Okay. Let's see. Let's keep going. But before I continue, does anyone have any questions?
Me, I mean, it's kind of like, may I have some examples, like two or three, um, yeah, I mean, two or three sentences, if you, yeah,
For which verb?
well, yeah, the one that we just talked about.
Okay,
Mm,
so
yeah.
okay. So let's go back to what I was saying earlier. Believe, oops. Believe and believe in. Of course. So let's start with the verb believe. I'll provide two examples. And let me add 2 more examples here. Let me do it in this format. That might be easier. Okay. Okay. So so we have this believe and believe in. So we have the verb believe. So again, it means to trust or believes. To trust or take someone's word. Uh, so like for example, he believed me when I told him that I didn't steal the money, meaning that he trusted that you didn't steal the money when you told him. Or she believed her son when he said that he didn't break the vase, meaning that she truly does think that her son didn't break the vase. So in this case, believe is synonymous with trust. And for believe in, the meaning changes slightly. So when you say that she believed in me, thanks to that, I was able to complete the test, meaning that this means that she was confident that you could complete the test. So this means that, she believed in your ability to complete the test. And if she didn't believe in you, if she hadn't believed in you, then she would think that she would have thought that you just weren't able to do the test at all. So here, it's in the sense of having faith in something, if that makes sense. And of course, we have the second
Uh,
example. Uh,
oh yeah. Thank you.
mm-hmm,
Thank you so much.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for answering my question. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. So in the second example, he believed in magic. So you can also believe in something, not just someone. But when you believe in something, you think that it exists. So he believed in magic, but I never thought that magic existed. So I didn't think that magic existed, but he did. So he thinks that it's real. So when you believe in something, you think that it's real. So that's the difference here. Okay. Now let's go on to the next verb. So we have the verb blow. So we have the verbs. We have the verb blow and okay. 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 Trying to think hmm. Okay. Now let's do this one. So I'm just gonna go like one verb at a time. Oh, someone asked a question. Sir, does it make sense? The pictures it really should be hung up on the walls. It does make sense, but in this case, hung up is an adjective, not not a verb. Okay, so let's take the verb blow. So, for example, she blew on the soup until it was no longer hot, or he blew on his burned hand. So, in that case, blow is like, when you force air out of your mouth, like, like that. It could also mean to fail, though. So, when you say I blew it, it means that you failed at something, like I failed the test, or um, I wasn't able to raise enough money for the fundraiser, or something like that. You blew it. Or you had one chance to do something and you messed it up. So in that case, blow can also mean to fail. And of course, as someone mentioned right now, it could also mean that something exploded. Like for example, um, when people say it's going to blow, they mean that something's going to explode. So in that case, it can also mean to explode. And in some contexts, it can also mean to have oral, and I know this is a little inappropriate, but I did say that there are going to be some verbs that are like a little inappropriate here. But anyway, in this case, sometimes blow can refer to oral sexual intercourse. So when you say that some woman blew someone, it means that she, had oral sex with someone. So in that case, it can mean oral sex, but you don't really want to use that word very often in that context because it's not very appropriate. Okay. But we also have blow away. So let's say we have a verb blow away. So it can mean let me provide another example. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have the verb blow away here, right? So in some contexts it can mean to, you know, when you force air out of your mouth, you make something like just go away. Like when you blow something away, you force it away with your breath. So, for example, the big bad wolf blew the straw house away. So here, the house is just no more. It's completely gone. He used his breath to just completely destroy it. But it could also be used in this context. She blew away the dust on the book. So the dust is now off the book because she used her breath to remove the dust. She used air to remove the dust. But in some contexts, it can also mean to shoot someone with a gun. So when you say the man blew away the stranger with the shotgun, you're implying that the man shot someone. So in that case, it can also mean to shoot someone. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. And of course, oh, wait, someone else just mentioned something here. That's actually a good sentence right there. I am blown away. It can also mean to surprise someone. Like when, for example, their presentation blew me away. It was just amazing. Oh, sorry guys, hold on. Okay, I'm back. So, as I said, like you could use blow away to surprise someone, or like she blew me away with her beauty at the ball because she was wearing a really nice dress. So that's another way of using that verb. I can't cover every possible meaning because, as you guys can see, a lot of these phrasal verbs have more than one meaning, but I will try to cover as many as I can. Okay. Oh, someone actually asked a good question up here. Why in your first sentence is away at the end of the sentence, but for other sentences it's towards the verb. It's close to the verb. Yeah, sometimes you can split phrasal verbs up by putting words between them. Like like when you want to say like I messed up the television or I messed the television up. Like either one is fine. Like sometimes you can just move the preposition around like that, but not always. So keep that in mind. So here, let me actually type that example. Or how about this? I messed up the project, or I messed the project up. In this case, either you can place up in front of the phrase the project, or you could put it at the end of the sentence here, and it would mean the same thing. So sometimes you can change the preposition placement, sometimes you can't. There's no hard rule for it. It's just something you just have to pick up naturally. Okay. Yeah, exactly. As someone said earlier, there are some phrasal verbs that you can split or divide. Like, well, split is a better word, but yeah, I get you either way. Okay. Yeah, adverb placement in general is kind of weird in English. Sometimes it doesn't matter, sometimes it does. It's just something you have to pick up. The meaning of messed up, it's when you ruin something. Like once you mess up a dress, but you might spill something on it, or you might rip it to shreds by accident, something like that. So it's implying that you're destroying something or damaging something. That's what messed up means in this case. Okay, but there are also other ones. So we have the verb, trying to look at my notes here. Okay, we have the verb blow off. So we talked about blow and blow away. So now we have blow off. So for example, okay, so blow off. In this case, to blow off someone means or to blow someone off means to promise to do something and then you don't do it. So for example, he blew me off. Now I don't have a date to the dance. So meaning that someone promised to take someone else to the dance but didn't show up. Or it could also mean, or you could use it like this: my friend blew me off. He promised to go bowling with me, meaning that for some reason he couldn't go but just didn't tell his friend in advance. So in that case, to blow off can mean to promise to do something but not do it. Okay. I don't really know where you would find the rules of English classes. You'd have to look around on the server. Um, let's see. Or talk to the mods because I don't know. Okay. Uh, it can mean to ditch someone. Ditch is no, not quite. Not quite. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it can, but not always. To ditch means more to abandon someone. like entirely. Like he ditched me in the forest, and I was left without someone to um to survive with, or something like that. But to blow off doesn't necessarily mean to abandon someone. It can just mean to, promise to do something and fail to do it. Okay. And of course we also have no, they don't have similar meanings. Ditch and bitch don't have similar meanings. Okay. We also have the verb, let's see, blow up. So you could say, for example, the stove blew up. It means that it exploded, or trying to think of something else, or the like, for example, the stove blew up, or the machine blew up because it overheated. So in this case, there's an implied explosion. So when you say that something blew up, it's some sort of explosion. And sometimes blow by itself can mean that, but not always. In this case, blow up would more often mean to explode. Or you could even use it in a figurative sense.
Hocam tuvalete gidebilir miyim?
Or you could even use it in a figurative sense. So for example, you could say, she blew up at me, meaning that, she got really angry at you and let it all out. Like she just got really mad at you. So in that case, it can mean to, get really angry and to figuratively explode. Not to actually explode, but to figuratively explode. So it's a figure of speech in this case. The difference between blow and blue is that the second one is just the past tense of the first. And yeah, phrasal verbs have past tense forms too. It blow up, blew up, go away, went away. It's really no different from standard verbs.
Hocam tuvalet.
Okay, I'm going to mute you. So, let's see here. He blew the window open. To blow open? Yeah, in that case, yeah. That would be considered a phrasal verb.
Öğretmenim, bu kadar tarlada çalıştım ya.
Okay, I need you all to shut your mics off. Okay. Let's see. So to answer, sorry, yeah, blow open. To blow open that's another good one that I didn't even consider. He blew the window open. Yeah, that's a good phrasal verb. So to blow something open means to force it open. So that's a good one. Okay. So that's for the verb blow. So let me go ahead and there was another one. Oh, right. Blow away and then blow open. The blow up my cash doesn't really make much sense. It's not grammatically wrong, but it doesn't make any sense. So it's a sentence, but it's not a very logical one. Okay. So we have blow here. So blow, blow up, blow off, blow away, and blow open. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay, so let's talk about the verb break. Yeah, that's correct. Break, broke, broken. I notice that some people here, however, are asking questions that are not quite related to phrasal verbs. So I just ignored those questions. So if you have a question, make sure that it actually is relevant to the topic at hand. But in the case of past tenses here, that's fine because, it doesn't hurt to know how to conjugate the verbs and tenses in the past tense. Okay. So whoever asked that question, you're technically fine. Okay. Let's go back. So the verb break. So the verb break in this case can mean to destroy something or to shatter it into several pieces. We broke the laptop. They destroyed the laptop, or they broke the plates, as in, the plates are completely shattered. They're in several pieces now. And of course, we also have other verbs too, such as break in. So okay, so we have okay. So for the verb break in, it can imply to forcefully enter a building. So, for example, the robber broke into the house, or the woman broke into the store and held the cashier at gunpoint. So that's another meaning for the phrasal verb. You can't really say I break in my laptop. But that reminds me, you could use break in as like to get accustomed to something, like, or to accustom yourself to something, like I need to break in my new shoes, meaning that you need to like wear your shoes for a bit before your new shoes for a bit before they, you know, start being less tight so that they can, adjust to your feet. In that case, you could use break in, like I've just broken my new shoes and I like them and they're a little tight, but I mean, I can get used to them. So in that case, you could use break in like that. Okay. No, there aren't any certain lesson times. That's just something that's not constant. You just have to keep an eye on the channel and know when there are new classes. Yeah, screw up means you failed at something. That's a better definition. Okay. We also have break down. So we have the verb break down, which actually has multiple meanings. So one meaning is that um, here, I'm typing an example. So we have the verb break down. And in one context, it can mean to explain something. To break something down can mean to explain something. Like, for example, the teacher broke down the math question. So he explained the math question. Or it could also mean to analyze something. So, like when you want to say to you could say something like the chemist, or actually in this case, broke down would mean to separate. So, like, for example, the chemist broke down the substance into different parts, like that. No, that was yesterday. That was yesterday. We did introductions yesterday. Okay. Or it could also mean there was a third definition I wanted to use. Okay. Yeah, someone brought it up earlier. It can also mean to like get really emotionally upset, like to lose control of yourself for a moment. Like for example, she broke down crying. That's another example. She broke down crying. So, or he broke down at my house last night because he just um because his grandmother is in the hospital and he doesn't know how to deal with it. So in that case, breakdown can mean to like lose control of your emotions and to hit a really low point.
Wait, so how would you like respond to something like that with another verb?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Like, how would you respond to like a question with the verb? Would you respond with another verb?
Um, I'm sorry, I'm still not quite sure what you're asking.
Like when you're responding, like say someone like says a sentence with like a verb, would you respond with another verb, or like how exactly would you go about that situation?
I I guess I would respond with another verb.
Mm-hmm. So like say like I'm talking to you, like we're just chilling up in the streets, and I'm like, "Hey, why did you break my hat?" And then like, what would you say in response?
Oh, okay, well, I would just explain why I broke your hat, or if I insist that I didn't break your hat, I would just say I didn't break your hat.
Mm-hmm.
So it really just depends on the type of question.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, let's see. The teacher broke down the math question. Well, as I said before, it means that the teacher explained the math question. So that's what it means. Okay. It could also mean to analyze something. So, um, where was I? Okay, right. So we could have break off. So we have the verb break off, which can mean to it can imply that something was forcefully removed. Like for example, the handle broke off the machine, or broke off of, I should say. So in that case, the handle like just somehow snapped and now it's not on the machine anymore. So in that case, you could use break off like that, but you could also use break off to in a way like when you want to cancel something, like they they broke off the deal. In that case, they canceled the deal. So you could use it like that, or an agreement or anything like that. So in that case, break off can mean cancel. Yeah, or to break off the dinner party. That's another good example. Does broke off mean something broke from something else? Yeah, that's what I was basically saying earlier. Like if something like broke off, like the handle broke off of the machine, it's pretty much like that. Now, if you mean in like a figurative sense, I don't think that would work. Like, I don't think you could use it like, like if you want to say that, for example, a company, like there was once this big company, but then a group, you know, actually, I think you could. Like, you could say some group broke off a company or something like that. I guess broke off of a company or like separate themselves from a company. I guess you could use it like that, but in that case, I think we would just say like they branched off from a company. I guess you could use it like that, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, to break off the engagement. That's another good one. Okay. Um. a few more
Can I
here.
ask the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is about the first sentence. The handle broke off of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that the handle is not connected to the machine anymore.
Yeah, so it's snapped, like it's disconnected.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so now we have, so that's the verb break off, but now we can also have the verb, wait, I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, break out. And this can mean several things. It can mean to escape some sort of confinement, like they broke out of jail. You could say that. They broke out of jail. But it can, or out of prison, yeah. Or it could also mean, in some contexts, it can mean to like get acne on your face. So, for example, my face broke out. Like, which in this case would mean like my face is now covered in pimples or acne or something like that. So that in that case, it can mean to, develop acne. Yeah. So that's another verb. And then we also have break through, which in this case would mean to bust through something or to force your way through something. Like, for example, so you could say the students broke through the crowd to reach the other side, implying that the crowd was in their way and they needed to force their way through. Or you could say, like, to break through the door. That's another good one. Like, for example, someone broke through the door. Or actually, in this case, we would say break down the door or bust down the door. Breakthrough we would use more for walls and stuff. Like, so for example, the police broke through the wall. You could say that. So, and yeah, that's also another good example. You could say break out in the case of an epidemic or pandemic, like some disease broke out, and now everyone has it, which is happening right now. Of course, you have the coronavirus. Yeah, COVID breakout. That's another one. So, yeah. That's another way you could use it. And yeah, phrasal verbs are they're infinitive. Like really, there are just so many here that I can't possibly cover all of them. So I'm just covering the most common ones. And of course, you have break up. That's another good one. Breakthrough means to go through. Not necessarily, it can, but the thing is that breakthrough implies some sort of forced entry. Go through, not necessarily. So it's not quite the same thing. Okay, so we have the verb break up. So you could say something like, of course, the most common definition is to end a relationship. So, for example, the man broke up with his girlfriend. So in that case, no, you can't really use it like that because broke up implies that there was once a romantic relationship. So you can't really use it like that with other family members. So yeah, as I said, the man broke up with his girlfriend, meaning that they ended the relationship and now they're not seeing each other anymore. Okay. It can also mean, however, to be on the phone call with someone and like have some sort of interference that makes it hard for you to hear the other person. So, or like there's some sort of static or anything like that. So, for example, like for example, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. Is something wrong with your phone? So in that case, you could use break up to imply that there's some sort of something wrong with the connection. Let's see. What about friendship? No, you can't really use it with friends either. You can end a friendship, but you can't really break up with a friend. It's really for romantic relationships only. Okay. Or trying to think of another definition. It could also mean to like make to like turn to like further like turn something into pieces. Like when you want to break something up, like if you want to break up the ground or something like that, like move it around, like make it like with construction, for example, like you could say, yeah, let me type an example. Like the construction workers broke up the ground. That implies that they're like just picking at it, turning it further, turning it into pieces. Like in that case, you could use break up like that. So it can imply like just breaking something down into pieces. Okay. That's okay. So that's that one. Let me go ahead and type what we just did. So our verbs so far were break, break in, break out, break up, break down, break through, break off, and break out. I think I already did break out. Yeah, so. Oh, well, you're welcome, Doctor Strange. See you later. Or no, break free would be like, see, the free isn't exactly a preposition. So in this case, I'm not sure if I call that a phrasal verb. But I mean, I guess it's kind of like a phrasal verb. Like break free could mean it means to, kind of like break out, but in a sense, like you're not like escaping some confinement. You're trying to wiggle your way out of some confinement, or it's like if someone is holding you down and you're trying to break free, like it could work in that case. But okay, but I don't think that's really a true phrasal verb. Okay. Uh okay, no, I'm totally broken does not imply that he has no money. You would say I'm totally broke. Broken implies that something is physically wrong with you, like you're physically damaged or something. And we don't well, in this for with machines and inanimate objects, but with people you're implying that that they're under some sort of emotional distress. Like when you say that someone's broken, you're saying that they're just not in a good like they're just in a really bad mental state right now. So in that case, you could use broken. Or for machines and objects or stuff like that, it just means that they're physically damaged. Okay. Before I move on to the next phrasal verb, does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, so if not, then I'll just go to the verb cut. Cut. So to cut something, of course, means to like use some sort of sharp instrument to divide something. Like, so when you say I cut an apple into two. I cut an apple into two pieces. So so here I use the knife to separate an apple into two different parts. So cut can mean that, or when you want to imply that you hurt yourself, like I cut my finger, meaning that I hit my finger touched something sharp and I got injured as a result. But if you add something like cut back, that implies that you're trying to reduce how much you use something or how much you eat something. Like, for example, he cut back on the soda, meaning that he's not drinking soda as much as he used to. He drank a lot of soda, but now he's not drinking so much. He reduced how much soda he was drinking. So cut back can be used in that manner. Or cut down, which is like cut. We have cut down, which is like cut, but you're implying that something is standing up, and when you cut it, it's knocked over. So, for example, we cut down the tree in our backyard. So in that case, you're implying that you cut something and that it fell over or that it was knocked over. We cut it down. I cut back on video games. Yeah, that's a good example for cut back. See, it could also be in the figurative sense. It could cut down could be used in the figurative sense. Like you could say something like, I'm trying to think. You would say he cut back on the soda, not he cut back the soda. Okay. No, used to isn't a phrasal verb. That's something else entirely. So regarding cut down, you could say something like, I cut down this argument, meaning that I attacked this argument, like I disproved it, or I provided evidence against it. You could use it in a figurative sense to take down something in that sense, or to show that something has no support or something like that, or to attack something in a figurative sense. Okay, so we also have the verb cut off. Cut down the tree. Does that mean that the tree is short now that it's dead? It could be either. It depends on the context. But either way, you cut off part of it. So now we have the verb cut off. In this case, it can mean to remove something by cutting. So for example, he cut off, like for example, he cut off trying to think of an example here. Okay, he cut off I'm trying to think of an example. Huh. Okay, I have one. Oh yeah, that works too. Yeah, that's an example. I'll just use that. He cut off my hair, meaning that that the hair is now chopped off, like it was removed by cutting. Or you could say something like this. He cut off the string that was sticking out of his shirt. So he took the string and then sliced it, like cut it off. So you could say something like that. Or it could also be used to refer to interrupting something or someone. So, for example, like she cut him off when he started talking about her, like for example her date. Like say she has a little brother and he was eavesdropping on her date with someone, and then when he started talking about to other people, she cut him off. She interrupted him because she didn't want anyone else to know about it. So in that case, to cut off someone means to interrupt them. It can also mean to, like when you're driving on a street or on the highway, it could also mean to get in front of somebody unsafely. So like when you're merging from one lane to another and you don't signal, or you like move in too close to a point where someone has to move back, then that's also another way you could use it. Like for example, that driver cut me off on the freeway, meaning that he didn't merge safely, he didn't signal, and then he just suddenly got in front of you and you were forced to go back, to move back. So you could use it that way. So when you cut someone off on the road, you're just forcing yourself in unsafely. Okay, let's see. There's also, did I say cut out? No, I didn't say cut out already. Cut out. And someone already brought okay, sorry. Someone already brought up an example here. Cut out, for the verb cut out. It can mean like when you're talking on the phone, it can suddenly mean that people can no longer hear you, like something just stopped you from being heard. So you could say your voice cut out suddenly. That's something that someone um that someone said earlier. Your voice cut out suddenly when I was talking to you on the phone. Or it could also just mean to remove something, or so like when you want to say, let's cut that sentence out of the essay. In some cases it can mean to remove something. So let's just cut this out. Or it could also mean to, when you want to tell somebody to stop doing something or to stop annoying you or something like that. It can mean to stop doing something. Like for example, cut it out. You're annoying me. So you could use it like that. So it can mean to tell someone to stop doing something that you find annoying or something like that. Okay. So that's cut out. Now we also have the verb cut up. So to cut up means to cut something into pieces entirely. So for example, he cut up the onions. So the onions are all like they were all chopped up into different pieces. So into many pieces. So he cut up the onions. It can also mean, yeah, cut it out means knock it off, essentially. In some contexts anyway. But anyway, cut up can also mean like when you're in a fight and you injure someone with a knife. That it could also mean like to injure, like to cut someone all over with a sharp instrument. Like, for example, I got cut up in the fight yesterday. Like, someone repeatedly hit you, like, repeatedly, like, used a sharp instrument on you. It can mean that too. So cut up can mean like every other phrasal verb, it can mean several different things. I think that's all for. Or to cut open. That's another one. Yeah. The thief cut his victim's throat open. Meaning that, like, to open something or to forcefully open something by cutting. So in this case, the thief cut his victim's throat open. Like, so his throat was slashed and it opened up and you could see what was inside of it. So that's another one, cut open. Okay, so far we covered the verbs cut down, cut back, cut off, cut up, cut open. I think that's all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and cut out. So, just some common ones for the verb cut. Okay, let's see. Okay, now the next one we're going to talk about is quite long. So before I continue, does anyone have any questions so far? Oh, that's another good one. When you are in the line and you cut in front of someone, so you don't go to the back of the line and instead you just jump in front of someone. Yeah, that's another one. But I mean, yeah, that in that case would be cut in. Like when you cut in front of someone. I got cut up in the fight yesterday means that someone someone repeatedly slashed me with a knife or something like that. That it implies being hit by a sharp instrument multiple times. That's what it means. Okay. But if no one has any questions, I will move on to the next one. Come. And this one has a lot. Okay. Let's see. So we have a verb, the verb come, which essentially means to arrive at some place. So for example, he came to my house. Easy enough. So he went over to my house. Okay. But come in is different. Come in implies entering a building or some other thing. So for example, she came into the room. Or, yeah. Or actually, no, let me change this. She knocked on the door and then she came in. Yeah. She came in. As in come in to enter. So she knocked on the door and then she entered. So come in can mean enter. Okay. And then there's come out, which is essentially the yeah, sometimes people say come on in like that. They add that on in there. That's a good one. Come on in, which means that they're inviting you into their house or whatever. So that's another good one. And then there's come out. And then there's come out. So, for example, the girl came out of the kitchen, meaning that she was in the kitchen, but now she left the kitchen. So come out implies to leave an area or something like that. Or it could also imply coming out of hiding, like when you're hiding and then you reveal yourself. So for example, He came out of his hiding place. Or he came out of nowhere. That works too. That's another good one. The difference between in and into. Okay, so that one, I can't really answer that here because that's quite a hard question to answer, and that's more suitable for prepositions in general and not just phrasal verbs. Let's see. Okay, so, but in some contexts, it can also mean to reveal your sexuality to someone. Like if you're lesbian or gay, when you come out to someone, you're telling them that you're homosexual or bisexual even. It depends, but basically it can also mean to reveal your sexuality. So, for example, my son came out to me yesterday, meaning that, he told me that he was gay. So, in that case, come out can mean to reveal your sexuality. Okay. And there's also come up. I like how someone put a rainbow emoticon there. Okay, so there's the verb come up, which can mean, it can mean going over to a place, like arriving at a place, kind of like come. So, like, say, come up to the window. This means that I want you to walk up to the window. I want you to come on over to the window. Like, I want you to approach the window. That in that case, come up can be used like that. It can also mean for something to be mentioned in conversation. Like, so for example, did the book come up in the conversation? Was the book mentioned? So it can mean that. So, let's see. Can come out only be used in this context, or can it also be used in some other confession? I think it's just that context only. Yeah, I think it's just that context only. Okay. Oh, to come up with. That's another good one. So to come up with. I think I was about to do that one. Yeah. So to come up with. The movie comes out next month. Oh yeah, that's another thing you could say. You could say come out like when something's about to be published or released. In that case, come out can work like that. So the book comes out next month or the movie comes out next month. Or something like that. So that's actually a good example. To come up with, to invent something. Yeah, exactly. See, you guys are getting it. So when you come up with something, you're creating something. So, for example, I came up with the idea for the project. In a sense, it can mean to invent, but it more often means to create or even to suggest. So in that case, you could use it like that. But I mean, the meaning is overall the same. So, or someone came up with the idea or came up with the idea of photographs or something like that. The movie comes out next month. Is this sentence grammatically correct? I know you're asking him, but I would say yes, it is. It's perfectly fine to me. Is it possible to add the preposition to a verb so it doesn't make sense? Yeah, you could. I mean, you could really add anything to anything else and it wouldn't make sense. So, yeah, it's really not just it's a phrasal verbs, but yeah, you could say something like believe on, but that wouldn't make any sense. So you can't really believe on someone. You can believe in someone though. If that's what you're asking. Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming. Okay. Come off. Okay, come off. This is an interesting one. So we have come off, which can mean Shoot, hold up. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. So come off in this case can mean for something to break off. Like, for example, the door came off of its hinges, or the door came off its hinges, or whatever. Yeah, I'll get to come down in a moment, but you could use that. You could say this for come off. The door came off of its hinges, so the door is no longer propped up because the hinges broke. So you could use come off like that. It can also mean to get hooked. I mean, it can also mean to refer to someone who was hooked on a substance, but is now, getting off of it. Like they're, no longer using it that much. So it can mean that too. So you could use it like he came off of the drug. Yeah, you could use it in that context. So that means that he's no longer he's trying to overcome his addiction to the drug. You could use it like that. Or just any substance really. Okay, let's see here. Okay, next one, come down. What someone mentioned earlier. So the verb come down. This can mean multiple things, of course, like with every phrasal verb here. Almost every phrasal verb anyway. So come down can mean to descend. Like, so for example, the elevator came down to the first floor. It can mean to descend. It can also mean to have an illness, to get an illness. So he came down with the flu. That's another use for it. So come down can mean to descend, or it can mean to get an illness. Oh, actually, that's another good one. Come off. Come off can, in this case, I mean, how did your talk come off? So come off can mean to, it can mean to, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. It can mean, it can mean sound, like how did, or to give an impression of something, like for example, uh, how, like how did you come off in the presentation? Were you confident? Were you um were you nervous? Like it can mean to give an impression of something, about something in that case. And of course come down can mean like to go to some place, like when someone tells you to come down here or to come on down, it can mean that too. Came down with an illness means that the person isn't able to work. Well, it depends really. It depends if they want to go to work sick or not. But either way, to come down with something, it refers to illness or some related ailment. The stain isn't coming off. Does it work? Yeah, it works. Like it was what I was saying earlier. Like it kind of like how with my example, the door came off its hinges. It's kind of like that. But here, the stain isn't coming off. So the stain isn't like it's not being removed. It just refuses to allow itself to be removed. So it won't come off. So yeah, that's another example. And of course you could say come down to. You could say come down to. So it all comes down to this. You could say that. In this case, come down to means that, when a situation is reduced to a certain outcome or to a certain point, like that. So when you say it all comes down to this, like you could be implying that you have like one last chance at something, and if you don't do it, you know, you fail. So, like for a basketball game, for example, like it all comes down to this one free throw. If I miss it, where our team doesn't win. If I make the free throw in the basketball game, then we win. So, so in a sense, so come down to can mean reducing something to a certain outcome, if that makes sense. Okay. And I technically just did come down with for illnesses, so come down and come down with. I should have differentiated those, but yeah. Okay. Come across. Come across. Okay, let's go with come across. So come across can mean to encounter someone or to bump into someone or to meet someone by, accidents. So for example, the teacher came across the student. The teacher came across the student who was heading to the library. The teacher came across a student who was heading to the library. So the teacher found the student by chance. So it can imply like bumping into someone or accidentally meeting someone or run into. Yeah, exactly. And it can also mean the same thing as come off in the sense of giving an impression of something. So when you tell someone that they came across as rude, it means that they sounded rude. So you could use it like that. In a similar manner to come off. Okay. And then there's come apart. Hold on. Let me see. How long have we been doing this? Oh, 90 minutes. Okay. Come apart. So to come apart can mean for something to forcefully separate itself into different pieces or to, just break down into different pieces. So for example, the book came apart, meaning that like the cover, like the book maybe the book separated itself from the cover. The pages are all over the place, like they're not connected anymore. Like the book is messed up. It's in a bad condition. So the book came apart. Like you probably like put it in water or something, and then it's just messed up. So you could use come apart like that. I think that's the only meaning I could use for come apart. I can't think of any other ones. Yeah, that's really the only meaning. Some of these verbs have only like one meaning. And then there's come back. So to come back can mean to return. So for example, when you want someone to come back after they walk away after an argument, like, come back, I'm not finished with you. Like you could say that. Like you want them to return, to come back. You could use it like that. Or something can come back, really. So like for example, um, like if you're suffering from some sort of condition, and you could say something like, my seizures came back. Like if, like for example, if I'm suffering from epilepsy or something, like my seizures returned for some reason. Like they stopped for a moment, for some time, but then they came back, like something like that. You could use it like that, or anything really. Like her old vigor came back. That's one way of doing it. Yeah. So basically, anything that's returned, that returns, I should say. In that case, I would say like we are losing 1 to 14. It's time to make a comeback. In this case, we would say make a comeback rather than come back. Who's calling me? Whatever. I'll just ignore it. Okay. But yeah, we would say make a comeback rather than just come back. It's time to make a comeback. Okay, let's see here. Come about. Okay, come about. A comeback is not a phrasal verb, right? Yeah. In this case, comeback would be just one word. So you don't put a space between them. So a comeback is like just here. Let me type it in. Let me type it. It would be just one word, a comeback. Like when you're losing a game and you want to like even out the score or even beat the opponents, like that. So in this case, it's a noun. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Oh, come about. I'm trying to. Okay, so come about in this case would mean when something happens or occurs. Like, for example, the storm came about. Meaning that the storm happened or that the storm occurred. So you could say come about in that manner. Okay, let's see here. And there's also come over. So we have come over. The verb come over, which can mean to go to someone's house or to go to some place that someone wants you to go to. She came over to my house. So meaning that she went to your house to visit you, basically. It implies some sort of visit. So when you come over, you're visiting in a sense. Okay. I've never really seen come about used in that manner to change direction. Maybe I could be wrong, but I don't know. I'm not claiming to know every possible meaning of these verbs, but yeah. That's just a weird definition to me, but of course I could be wrong. Can you come over and just watch some movies with me? Yeah, that's fine. That's a fine sentence. And then there's come through. So we have come through, which in some cases can mean when you come through for someone, you're being there for them. Like they trust you to do something and you deliver on your promise. So he came through for me when he saved me from the fire. You could say that. He came through for me. Like he saved me from the fire. Like he was there for me when I needed him. In that case, you can use come through like that. Or it could be used to like refer to something that you're expecting, I believe. So hold up, let me just make sure here. Oops. Okay, yeah. So like for example, the report hasn't come through yet. Implying that it hasn't been published or anything like that, or it hasn't been cleared for authorization. So you can use come through in that manner. Okay. So that's for come. Okay. I have gets, which is next, but honestly, get is probably the worst phrasal verb for English learners because it has so many definitions. I have what? At least 20 here. Let's see, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 definitions. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I got them all. It's ridiculous. 26 for get. If I covered every single one here, we'd be here all day. I think I might save that for later. Like maybe I don't know. If I cover it now, it's just gonna take way too long. I'll just cover. I guess I could just cover some of them. Okay. I'll just cover the most common forms with get, and then the others I'll just cover in some. I guess in some different lesson if I decide to keep going with it. Yeah, this is why I recommend that you not that you not memorize phrasal verbs because, again, there are too many of them, and you're not going to be able to memorize every single one. There are hundreds of them. And I'm not trying to scare you, which is why I recommend that you not study them. Just don't even bother. They're like, you should just expose yourself to English, and over time you'll be exposed to them and you'll know them without even realizing it. I just recommend not studying them because not only is that impossible, but it will also discourage you. So don't even bother. And it's not like natives use all of these equally. So if you come across one that you don't even use very much, then so be it. You learn what's out there in the real world. So if people don't use a phrasal verb very much, then there's no reason for you to. Okay. Before we continue, I really need to go to the restroom, so I will be right back.
Do you know which software he uses for recording purposes?
I think it's OBS.
Which one? Can you type it?
Yeah, it is my problem too. I want to record the voice of teacher, but I cannot. How can I do it?
OBS.
It's open source. It's on GitHub.
Okay.
Let's ask teacher.
You guys can write notes if you would like. Like you can grab a paper and a pen, and you can write the notes that you would like to write.
Okay, I'm back. All right. So, yeah, regarding get with its 20 phrasal verbs, honestly, don't even bother memorizing all of them. I have to stress that. Do not memorize phrasal verbs. There's no point. Or if you are going to memorize them, memorize only like what, a few of them at most, and the most common ones. So either limit your memorization or just don't bother. And like it's the same thing with prepositions. Like in English, there are at least 100 prepositions, 150 even, but you don't see natives just memorizing every single one, even the least common ones. We just know them. Like you just get exposed to them over time, and you just pick them up. It's no different for people who's for whom English is a second language. But anyway, let's just cover a few definitions for gets. So I'll just pick like, let's see, get in, get out, get down, get up. Okay, we'll just do that. Okay, so let's do gets first. So to get often means to take something or even to receive something. So for example, if you're playing a basketball game, you could say, I got the ball, meaning that you somehow managed to get the ball, you somehow managed to grab it, and now you are in possession of the ball. Or if someone's giving something to you, like you could say, she got the letter from him. In that case, you could use get like that. In this case, got is the past tense of get. So get can mean to take or to receive. It depends on the context. You get what you deserve. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see. We also have get in. I got or I've got. They're both equally common. You'll hear both. Technically, the second one is the standard usage, but people will say I got too. Okay, let's see. So we have get in, which means to enter, kind of like come in. So she got in the car. So meaning that she entered the car. Like it can mean that. Or it could also imply like being able to get into some area that you weren't supposed to enter. Like when you want to say something like say for example, the cat got into the house. Like you didn't want the cat to be there, but it got in there anyway. Like for some reason it just found its way into the house. So in that case, gets in can be like that. Okay, in or into, get in or get into, either one. Well, it depends actually. As you guys can see, like you wouldn't say actually you could say she got into the car. But I think that the meaning would be slightly different than from she got in the car. But in any case, you have get in and get into. And then of course there's get out, which most often means to leave. So when you tell someone to get out, you want them to leave the house. Get out, leave the house, or something like that. So just get out. Okay. Let's see. We also have please get out of my mind. Yeah, you could say that if you're like talking to something that just won't stop bothering you, like in your mind, like or yeah, you could say it like that. Please get out of my mind. Like if you're constantly thinking about something, you just want it to go away. You could do that. Get out is an appropriate form of to leave. Well, no. Get out is in a sense harsher than leave. Leave can leave is a little more polite than get out. It depends. Like Get out doesn't necessarily have to be negative, though. Like if you're warning someone about something, like you could say, get out quickly, like something's coming or something like that. It depends. Oh, yeah, that's another good one. Get out your best dress. We are going to a party. So get out can mean to take out in that case. So we could do that. And of course, we have get up. So, for example, so get up in this case would mean to go from a sitting position to a standing position. So, my dad got up from his chair. You could say that. So he's now standing up. He was sitting, but now he's standing. But it can also mean that you were like knocked down, like somehow, and then someone tells you to get up, or you say, I've got to get up. Like it can imply being like standing up after being knocked down. So like let's say you're a soldier and some explosion knocked you down. Like say some explosion knocked me down, but I got up before I was shot. Or you could say to get back up in this case. So if you're in a fight and then someone knocks you down, you have to get back up in that case. So that can also work. I managed to get out a few words. That can work too. So who's calling me? Okay. Well, get out in this case. Stop calling me. Okay. So get out in this case can mean to like to make something come out, like to get out a few words. I couldn't get out a few words, or I could barely get out a few words in that case. Yeah, I'll just put it on. I don't know why I can't just put it on vibrate. I'll just put it on vibrate. Let me do that. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. It's been a while since I've had to put my phone on vibrate. So let me just go ahead and put it on vibrate. Okay, there we go. Now it's on vibrate. Okay, so yeah, thank you for that suggestion. Okay, so well, anyway, get back up in this case can be like I got back up after I was struck down. So you could use get back up instead of get up. Of course, there's also get down. We can't forget about get down. Get down can mean to duck. Like if something is flying at you, you want to get down before it hits you. Like so for example, a toy plane was like coming at me, so I got down to avoid it. Like I had to duck. Oh yeah, I forgot. Get up can sometimes mean to wake up. So I get up at 7 a.m. every day. That's an example. I can't believe I didn't think of that because there are so many meanings here. Okay. Let's see what else. What was I doing? I was on a verb. Yeah, get down. So we have get down. Oh wait, we already. Oh yeah, it could also mean get down could also mean to dance in some context. So when someone says time to get down, they mean time to dance. So it's time to get down on the dance floor. So you could do that too. So get down can sometimes mean to dance. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let's do get at. So we have the verb get at. Get at can mean to imply something or to insinuate or suggest something. So for example, what are you getting at? So, for example, what are you getting at? Are you implying that I'm fat? Or an example like that. So, is someone implying that you're fat? Are they getting at that, implication? So, get at can mean to imply, or it can mean to try to like reach something. So, hold up. Like, it can mean like it can mean trying to like reach for something, like to try to desperately grab something or something like that. So the customers try to get they tried to get at the products while they were while they were standing outside the store. So like they were trying to break into the store. In this case, get out can be kind of like that. Like they were desperately trying to grab something that was out of reach. So you could say something like that. Okay. Let's see what else. And let's say I guess we'll just do get off. So we have the verb get off, which can mean, of course, like if you're on top of something, to get off means to, get, like not to be on top of something anymore, to remove yourself from that thing. So like when someone yells at you to get off them, like get off me, you're crushing me. Get off can be used in that context. And it can also mean, oh, well, actually no. We could add another preposition. So get off on, which means to get pleasure or enjoyment from something or from doing something. So for example, he gets off on being arrogant to other people, meaning that he enjoys being arrogant to other people. So get off on can be used in that context. Okay. So let's do get to. Get to can imply going to a destination. So for example, let's get to the station. Like if you're trying to go to a train station or a bus station, so here you're saying that you want to go to the station. So let's get to the station. It could also mean it can also mean like trying to like get to something. Like it can mean trying to like go to something that's out of reach. So it's like In that case, get to doesn't. That's different because you're saying get to play. So to play is really the unit here, not to get to. Okay. Like, how can I get to that wall? So you're implying that the wall is out of reach, and you're trying to find some way to reach it. Or actually, not wall. Let's say window. How can I get to that window that's so high up? Yeah, that's a better example. How can I get to that window? So in that case, we can use get to like that. That's kind of the same thing that Sure Thing said. I really want to get to know that girl. In this case, get to isn't really a phrasal verb here because you have to know. Get to, like, it really works with just nouns. To make it a phrasal verb, it has to work with just nouns. How can I get to that mountain? That works too, yeah. Basically, so you're implying some way that you're implying that you're trying to get to something that's seemingly out of reach, not necessarily out of reach, but seemingly so. So that's a good example. Okay, so we also have, that's not an example. Okay, so we also have, sorry, I'm trying to think here. Okay, let's do get back. Get back can mean to move backwards. So like, for example, someone like had some sort of chemical spill, you would say, get back. This chemical is dangerous. So that means to move back or to step backwards. Get back. So keep your distance in that case. Now, there are two different verbs here that I'm going to talk about. Get back at and get back on. Get back to, sorry. And though the meaning here is very, very different, do not mix these up. So, the difference between these two is that the first implies that you want revenge. The second one implies that you want to return to someone after they asked you something, or something like that. You want to talk to them again. So, for example, I'll get back at you means that I want revenge. But I'll get back to you means that you ask me a question. Oops. Me a question about something, like say if I wanted to go to the movies, or if I want to do some sort of project or whatever, and I'll give my answer later. So these two mean very different things. Don't mix them up. I'll get back at you. I want revenge. I'll get back to you. You ask me a question. I'll give my answer later. Yeah, that can work. Let's get to cooking. Yeah, that works too. Like if you want to start something, let's get to cooking. Let's get to doing the assignment. Or something like that. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do for get. Oh, so many. Okay. So we have 3 more. Okay, let's do give. So we have get. Oh, get on? Someone said something about get on. Get on, yeah. Let me just cover that one then. Get on. In this case, get on implies trying to be on top of something. So get on the horse means that someone wants you to sit on top of the horse, like to move up and then sit on top of the horse. So that works too. Okay, now let's do give. So the verb give means to hand someone something. So for example, give me the remote for the TV. So give me the TV remote. You're asking someone to, or telling someone to give you the TV remote. You want someone to hand you the TV remote. But if we add something like, okay, so we have away, in, out, and up. So to give away means to hand something to someone or multiple people for free. So we're giving away a television for anyone who can answer this question. So in this case, giving away a television means that you're handing it out for free. Like, you're not expecting anything in return. You're just giving it away. But it can also mean revealing something too. So, for example, like if you're trying to hide that something's bothering you, and then someone says someone senses that something's wrong with you, and then you say something like, "What gave it away?" So like, what gave it away in that case? Like, so you're implying that someone was hiding something. So what gave it away? And then what revealed it, basically. And then they tell you what revealed it. So giveaway can be used like that. And then we have give in. So give in, which means to surrender to something or someone. It depends. So let's say the boy gave into, succumb, basically. The boy gave into his desires and ate all the chocolate. That's a good one, yeah. So that's one way, like to succumb to something, to yield to something, to surrender to something. That's me. That's funny. Okay, to give out means to distribute something. So we have the verb give out. Accept defeat. And in some contexts, yes. In some contexts, yeah, give in can mean to accept defeat. The same as dish out. Dish out is a bit different. I wouldn't say they're quite the same. But and essentially, to give out means to distribute something. So let's give out invitations for our party. I mean, you could say, I guess you could use dish out like that, but dish out tends to be used in a different way. Like when you want to dish out punishment or, something like that. Like when someone says you can take it, but you can't, I mean, you can dish it out, but you can't take it, which is an idiom that means you can give out punishment, but you can't handle it in return. So dish out is a bit different in that regard. Okay. So give out can mean like that, but it can mean to distribute or to hand out something, but it can also mean to stop functioning. So for example, the engine gave out. The car engine gave out. So it stopped working. The car engine gave out. Or you could say that her heart gave out and she suffered a heart attack. So you could use give out like that. I would say in that case you'd use give off. Let me cover give off actually. Let me add that here. Give off. It should be the ozone layer blocks some harmful rays which the sun gives off. Gives out doesn't sound quite right there. So I would change it to gives off. So give off is essentially means to emanate, like to emit something, like it gives off some sort of glow. Like you could say the bug gives off a strange glow. That works. Or the sun gives off harmful rays. That's another one. So you can use give off like that. And of course, who could forget give up? Which means to, it's a bit different from to give in. It's a bit different from to give in. To give in like means to succumb to something. To give up means more to accept defeat. So for example, he gave up and lost the competition, meaning that he wasn't able to win against someone. So he just lost. He decided to accept defeat. Like, yeah, it essentially means stop trying. To just give up. Stop trying. Don't make any more attempts. To accept defeat. Or to give up on. That's another one. That's a good one someone brought up. Give up on. So like when you give up on someone, you just want to stop helping them. Like you think they're beyond helping. So she gave up on me after I repeatedly, yeah, lose faith. That's a good definition. So she gave up on me after I repeatedly failed my math exercises, meaning that I just, for some reason, couldn't get the math down, and she just gave up on me. She lost patience with me. She lost faith with me. It can mean to lose faith, and in some special contexts, to lose patience. So, yeah. Give up with the intent of never claiming again. Yeah, that works too. Or it could also mean to hand something over. Like, to hand something over. So, like, for example, let me use a different example. She gave up the custody of the children. Yeah, that's a good one. Give up the money, for example. That's another one. Like, just to hand, like someone's telling you to hand it over. Like, just give up the money. That works too. So it can work in that context. Okay, so that's give. We're almost done here. We have take and then two other ones that are a bit inappropriate. So I'll give you a warning when those show up. Okay, so take. Take. So we have the verb take. Of course. So this means to, just grab something. So I'll take, like when someone says, I'll take a case of something, like, or I'm trying to think of some product. Oh, like, I'll take a case of beer. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good one. Like, for example, I'll take a case of beer. That's one. Like, take, just to get, like, just to grab something. Or in some cases, in this case, you could say it's kind of like requesting something. Or, yeah, like that. Or it can mean to, like, say, you could use it in context, like, as someone else just posted here, let me take a selfie. So, like, taking a photo, like, to make a photo, it can sometimes have the implication of make. But of course, we also have other phrasal verbs, such as take apart, which means to, separate something into pieces. Like, I took apart my dad's computer and he got mad at me. So basically, I like put like I separated my dad's computer into several pieces, like and it's now just a mess of pieces. So you could take apart something. Okay. There's also take back. So when you take back something, you're reclaiming it basically. So you hand it out and then you just get it back. So for example, I'll take back my computer, please. But it could also be, but sometimes people use it like if you're in an argument. Oh, what the heck? Sorry, Discord froze up on me for a moment. Okay, there we go. So we could say, like if you're in an argument and someone says something, you say, take it back. This really means like someone said something bad about you or whatever, and you want them to just take it back. Like that you want them to retract their statement. That you want them to say that they didn't mean what they said. In that case, you could use take back like that. Or someone else here posted, I won't take back what I gave her. That's another good example. Okay, and of course there's take up on, which means to accept an offer. Repossess. Yeah, basically, take back means repossess. So when you say, I'll take you up on your offer to go bowling, means that you'll accept someone's offer to go bowling. I'll take you up on your offer to go bowling. I won't take back what I gave her. It essentially means that you gave her something, and and if she tries to return it to you, you're just like, no, I don't want it back. Like, you can have it. You can keep it. So basically, you're just letting her keep it if she tries to, return it to you. Whatever that thing is. Okay, let's see, what was I? There's also take in. So you have the verb take in, which, let's see, there's take in, which is essentially, in a sense, means to absorb something. So, or to like, yeah, like to absorb something, or to like mentally or physically. So for example, we went to the mountains and took in the amazing view. Like you could say something like that. So you could use take in like that. Okay. There's also take out. Take out. So take out can imply removing something, or to removing something from one place and putting it in another, like to take out the trash, for example. Like you're telling someone, take out the trash. Take it out. Or take the trash out. But take out the trash is a little more common. Okay, let's see here. And then there's also take out on, which means to displace your emotions onto someone. Like to express your anger at someone for something they didn't do. Like for example, like let's say you have a bad day at work. You had a bad day at work, and um your son's home, and you let your anger out on him. So you take your anger out on him, not necessarily physically. Like it can be emotionally. Like, so you yell at him even though he didn't do anything wrong. So So you could say, she took her anger out on me. After a hard day at school. Like you could say something like that, which implies that she displaced her anger onto you. You didn't do anything wrong, but she just needed to find an outlet for her anger, and she unfortunately chose you. And of course, there's also, I forgot, there are also other definitions of takeout. Like when you take someone out, you're implying like going on a date with her. So I'll take, or a date with anyone really. Like I'll take her out to the movies. So that's another good example. But it can also imply, it could also imply defeating someone in a fight. So, yeah, exactly. It can also mean to kill someone, to take someone out, to basically to put them out of commission or to kill them. It depends. So when you take someone out, you're implying that you were in some sort of like not necessarily in a struggle. It can just be like a sudden quick action that they're not expecting. But basically, you're implying that you struck them down. So you could say the assassin took out the victim. That's one. In this case, took out is the past tense of take out. So be really careful with how you use these because a lot of these have different definitions. Took out his life, I wouldn't quite say that. Ended his life, sure, but took out his life, mm-mm. Take out the presents, yeah, that can work. It can imply like like removing something from, oh, it's basically kind of like take out the trash, but well, no, not like that. It's a bit different. Like here, take out the presents implies that you want to show the presents to someone, so you get them from someplace and then hand them over to someone. So take out can be used like that. Okay, hold up. Hold up. So someone just DM'd me for a moment. Let me just quickly address this. Okay, now let me go back to the class. Okay. Yeah, takeout can sometimes mean showing someone something, as you just did, as you just showed us, Heaven Blaze. You're right. You could say, "Take out your license." So, like a police officer says, "Take out your license." You just show them the license. It can work like that. Let me address this. Well, that just means that you want. It just means that you're going to talk about something or some issue that someone brought up. Or like to address a complaint, like to deal with a complaint or whatever, or tackle, but in a figurative sense, not in a physical sense. But anyway, that's take out and take out on. Take down. So take down. Take down can imply removing something that's hung up. So for example, we took down the posters. So the posters were on the walls, and we on the school walls, for example, and we took them down. So take down the posters. We took them down. It can also mean to defeat like to strike someone down in a fight. Not necessarily kill though. Not like take out, but like for example, like if you like say you're in a sparring match in some martial arts, whatever martial art you choose, you take someone down means to like to strike them down, like with a kick or a punch or whatever. It could be like that. I took him down in the fight, like that. You could do that. But taking someone down doesn't really imply taking someone out. The former implies that you struck someone down. The latter implies that you could strike someone down, that you did strike someone down, maybe, but that you also killed someone. It depends. Yeah. Or you could say take down the vase from the shelf. Like you're implying that you're removing something from someplace higher up or whatever. To beat him? Yeah, I guess in this context you could say that. But it depends. Okay, so that's take down. Okay, and now we're going to go into the two words that I said at the beginning were going to be foul language. So for those who don't like foul language, this is your warning right now. I'm including these because I feel that these are some of the most common phrasal verbs you're going to come across. So let me type this right now. For those who don't like foul language, you should stop watching right now or listening right now. And I will let you know when. Why did I put I'll? I will let you know when the foul language is over. The discussion about the foul language is over. So, this is your warning. If you're watching a recording of this, or if you're listening to this right now, I would either mute or just leave or whatever you want to do, whatever. And then come back when I don't really see the point of leaving the channel though. Like you could just mute and then not listen. But or whatever. I don't know, but whatever. Just do it however you want. But basically I'm about to talk about a few words here that are bad words. Okay? So that's your warning. Okay. So we have the verb fuck. And this has many different definitions. So it often means to have sexual intercourse with someone. Like they fucked each other last night in bed. So they fucked each other. But it could also mean, but of course it could also be an interjection. Like if you want to shout and you say fuck, damn, like something like that. Like you're swearing because either you hurt yourself or something bad happened. So it could be used like that. So like you could say, fuck, I failed the test. Okay. And of course, you could change that verb to fuck up. So to fuck up in this case means to mess up. So in this case, she fucked up and her mom got mad at her. So in this case, she messed up. She failed at something. She messed it up or whatever, and her mom got mad. She fucked up. Or it can mean like you got beaten up. So, for example, he got fucked up when he tried to attack the bouncer. So, at the club. So he tried to attack the bouncer, but the bouncer fucked him up. He got fucked up. So it can mean to be beaten up. He got beaten up. And of course, a bouncer is essentially what we call it's basically someone who's a security who guards the entrance of say a club. That's what a bouncer is. That's what they do. They guard clubs. Okay. So, yeah. So there's also another one. You could say, oh wait, well no. I mean like another verb. So you could say fuck off, right? Someone mentioned that earlier. So fuck off can mean, you know, for you want to tell someone to go away, you would tell them to fuck off. Of course, you want to be careful with how you use that because that's a very harsh word to use. So to leave me alone or to go away, it depends. So fuck off. I'm not talking to you. Like you could say it like that. Like just fuck off. Go away. Like this doesn't involve you. You could use it in that context. Or it can mean for you to just go away yourself. Like for example, the characters fucked off because the author forgot about them at some point in the story. Like they just disappeared because the author forgot to put them in. And that tends to happen with some stories. Like some authors forget about characters, and then you could use it in that context. Like the characters just fucked up; they went away. Like it can mean to go away, like to fuck off. Or yeah, like in that case, I had enough. I'm fucking off. Basically, like it can mean to tell someone to go away, or for you to go away yourself. Well, fuck you up is like I destroy. Well, yeah, basically, like it can mean to beat someone up, not necessarily to destroy, just to beat up. It could also mean to destroy. Actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. It could also mean to destroy, but not with people, but with objects. Like for example, she fucked up her computer because she dropped it and it hit the ground really hard. Or you could say her voice was fucked up because she was screaming last night at a concert. So you could say it like that. But that works with inanimate objects, not with people. In the case of being destroyed or damaged or whatever. So you could say it like that. Yeah, and like of course of course as I said, it means to mess up. So you could tell someone, "Don't fuck it up. It's our big day." That's a good one. So yeah, isn't inanimate objects tautologous? Uh, it depends, I guess. I mean, some of them. Well, I guess not. If you count animals as objects, they're technically not inanimate. I don't know. It depends. It depends. But basically, with inanimate things or whatever, I don't know. However you want to pronounce, however you want to call it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I mean. I should just say objects in general, I guess. Just objects. Tautologous. It means something that's essentially it's kind of like this is true because this is true. It's something that I don't know how to explain it. Like maybe someone else can explain it, but basically it's like I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of a paradox, basically. I'd have to find examples online. You'd have to look that up, but it implies some sort of redundancy, in a sense. Okay, let's see. So fuck with, we have the verb fuck with, which can mean to mess with someone. Like when you want to say don't fuck with me, it means don't mess with me. Like don't try to fight me. Like you don't want people to like try to attack you or fight you or anything like that. Don't fuck with me. Don't mess with me. It can mean that, or it could also mean there are some people use it in like some people use it in social media to mean like I can't deal with this right now, like in a joking manner. Like when someone is so funny and you're just like I can't fuck with you. Like I just can't fuck with you. You're too funny for me. I just can't. I can't deal with you. I can't right now. Like, it could be used in that case. So, like, you could use it like that. It could also mean to joke around. Like, so when someone says I'm just fucking with you, they mean they mean like I'm just joking. Like, I'm just joking. I'm just messing around. I'm just fucking around with you. I'm just fucking with you. Okay. This guy is funny. I fuck with him. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, it could also mean don't mess with something, not just someone. So don't fuck with the gun. Like, don't even bother trying to use it. So that's another example. And of course, there's also fuck around, which means mess around, basically. So we're just fucking around. We're just messing around. You could use it like that. Like, I'm just fucking around. So yeah, you could use it like that. We're just messing around. Or you could, or if you want someone to stop, like, being distracted or doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, you could say, "Stop fucking around. We need to get to work." Like, you could say that. So let me type that. It was just essentially the same thing. Stop messing around. We need to get to work. And of course, I believe that's that one. Of course, there's also fuck over. Yeah, goof off, basically. That's what to fuck around means, to goof off or to mess around. But we also have, like, the verb fuck over, which means to put someone in a bad spot. Like, she fucked me over when she cheated on me. Like that, too. Like, to screw someone over, like, to put them in a really bad spot. Like, to cause something bad to happen to them, essentially. Or, my business partner fucked me over when he took all our money and left. When he took all our money and left me. So it can mean to screw someone over. Or to put them in a bad spot. Or you could even just, or in some cases, you can just use the word fucked. So, for example, I'm so fucked because I didn't study for the exam. You can just use fucked that way and not fucked over. So in this case, you would just use fucked. I'm so fucked because I didn't study for the exam. Or she's so fucked because she was drinking and driving and now the police pulled her over. So you could use it like that. Oh, this class is about phrasal verbs, and this is just one of those phrasal verbs that involves a bad word, which I did warn people about at the beginning. Okay, let's see. No, that's different. That in this case, fucking is more of an intensifier. It's when you wanna, like, exaggerate something, like I'm so fucking tired, or like he's so fucking stupid, or something like that. But that's different from a phrasal verb. Okay, so we have piss. This is the last one I'm going to talk about. Piss. Yeah, exactly. To fuck someone means to have sex, and to fuck with someone means to mess with someone. Or to get, like, in some sort of fight with someone, basically. So we have the verb piss, which means, in some contexts, to urinate. So, for example, I need to take a piss, or I pissed in the toilet. So, like, you could say that. So, Or it can mean to anger someone. And in this case, we could say piss off. So in this case, you could say, she pissed me off. She pissed me off. Like, she angered me. I'm so angry. Like, she made me so mad. She pissed me off. He pissed himself when he saw me. That's possible, but you're implying that, like, and I'm sure you are, you're implying that he went and, like, he peed his pants. But if that's what you're implying, then that's technically fine. So, or you could say, I pissed the teacher off because I was talking back to her, I should say. Or I pissed off the teacher because I didn't do the homework. Yeah, that's a good example. Like, I pissed off the teacher because I didn't do the homework. Or the students pissed off the teacher because they wouldn't listen to her. So you could say that too. Or it could be like fuck off. So it could be like, so piss off can be like you want someone to go away, like piss off. Don't talk to me again. Like I don't want to see you right now. Go away. Piss off. Like it could be like that. So that's another way. So it's like fuck off in this case. Yeah, exactly. Why don't you just piss off, man? Yeah, piss as an adjective would be like seething in rage. Like he was pissed. He was really mad. Yeah, that's what it often means in this case. Though again, these are words that you wouldn't normally use. Like you use these in special occasions, like when you're really angry and when you're with friends. And you don't want to use them in professional settings, obviously. Don't. That'd be stupid. Like there are times when to use these words and times when not to. But yeah. Yeah, that's another definition. It can also mean that someone is scared shitless. Like when you say someone pissed themselves, like it can mean that they got really scared. Like he pissed himself when his mom pulled up in the driveway because he didn't do the chores, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like that. So he pissed himself. Like he got scared. So that yeah. So I think that's it for those words. Again, be really careful with how you use those words. Yeah. But anyway, now that that's done, now I'm done talking about these words. So, to everyone here, I am now done talking about the two bad words, two cuss words, let's say cuss words, that I mentioned earlier. So, you can unmute me now, or whatever, or however you like, or however you're listening to this. You can listen now in more, and now I can just continue with the lesson. I think when the class ends, the whole conversation will be filled with these two words, probably. Okay, so yeah, probably. Someone put a Drake emoticon here. Okay, let's see. Yep. All right. I think that's it for now. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Technically 11 phrasal verbs. I think that's enough for now. We talked a lot about phrasal verbs. But hopefully you guys got the idea. And I talked to you about some of the most common ones. So hopefully this gives you a good start. And I will, when I put this video on my YouTube channel, I will post a link to this list of phrasal verbs I'm looking at right here. And you guys can just use that as a refresher if you ever forget what these mean. Oh yeah, that's actually another definition of blow off you could use, like not to just like stand someone up or something like that, but also like you could tell someone to blow off, like to go away. That works too. Blow off can be used in that manner. Okay, but yeah, that is all the phrasal verbs I can teach you for now. There were so many, but that's it for now. Okay, yeah, right after I end the lesson, I will post a link to the recording. No, to my channel, and then later I will post a link to the recording itself. Okay, but yeah, we're just about finished. So, yeah, hopefully phrasal verbs are a little less intimidating to you. Again, don't try to memorize all of these. It is impossible. I know most of these, but not I did, but you know, as a native, I didn't memorize every single one. It's just something I picked up over time. Like it's just something you learn over time. So, don't bother trying to memorize them. Just learn them organically. If you get exposed to them enough times, you'll just start using them. Okay. But anyway, I'm glad to help you all. Thank you so much for the support, and I'm just happy to help you. So, I am going to go now, but thank you all so much for watching, and I will stop the recording right